I want to help you with your quiz for Geometry Semester 1, 3.4.3. This quiz does get confusing, so let's talk about it a little bit more, okay? So, one easy thing to figure out about this is if you know one leg of the triangle, then you automatically know the other leg, because if one leg is S, then the other leg is the same. So if one leg is S, the other leg is S. So in this case, let's say we have our triangle. That's a terrible triangle, but we're going to act like it's a good one. And on all my triangles, I forgot to put my little 90 degree. So if one leg is 7, we know that the other leg has to be 7. Okay? Now, the other part of our equation is if it gives you a leg, in order to get our hypotenuse, we have to multiply by the square root of 2. So if we look at this one that we just made, that'd be the same thing as 7 times the square root of 2, which equals 7 square root 2. Okay, so let's go down and look at our example down here. So in this triangle, one leg is 3. So it's asking us to find our x and our y. Well, again, I did not put our little thing down here. So x is another leg. So we know that since one leg is 3, then our other leg has to be 3. Now for our hypotenuse is y. So we take our leg, which is 3, and we multiply that by the square root of 2. So 3 square root of 2 is 3 square root of 2. So our new triangle looks like this. Both legs are 3, and then our hypotenuse, which is what's across from our 90 degree angle, is 3 square root of 2. Now, if the problem gives you a hypotenuse, and if the problem gives you a hypotenuse, then you have to, in order to find the leg, divide by the square root of 2. So we're going to look at a couple examples of this one. So in this case, our hypotenuse is 4 square root of 2. So if we go over here and we do 4 square root of 2, and we divide by the square root of 2, then that square root of 2 and square root of 2 are going to cancel each other out, which leaves us with 4. So after those two cancel out, we know that we're left with 4. So our leg is just 4. So that new triangle is going to look like this leg is 4, that leg is 4, and our hypotenuse remains 4 square root 2. Now, that's when it's pretty easy, when it gives us our hypotenuse with the square root of 2. Now, sometimes it gives you your hypotenuse as a whole number like it does here. This time, it just gives us 16. When it does that, you're still going to take your hypotenuse and divide it by the square root of 2. What you're going to do is you're going to take that whole number, in this case is 16, take that whole number and divide it by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And you're going to keep your square root of 2. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. And then we keep the square root of 2. So in order to find our leg, if it gives us a whole number, take your whole number, divide it by 2, which in this case would be 8, and then you keep your square root of 2. So our new triangle would look like this. Your hypotenuse, that's a terrible right triangle. Your hypotenuse is 16, both of your legs are going to be 8 square root of 2. Now, the last example that we had, in order to, if it gave you the hypotenuse, we had to divide in order to get our leg. Well, this one, it gives us our leg, so the opposite of dividing will be multiplying. So in this case, 9 square root of 2, we have to multiply by the square root of 2. So in this case, we're going to take 9 square root of 2 and multiply it by the square root of 2. So that's going to be the same thing as 9 square root of 2 times the square root of 2. And if you think about it, that's really the same thing as the square root of 2 squared, right? Because the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. Well, the square root and square, those are opposites. So those actually cancel out. Well, not that 2 there, but so that's the same thing as leaving us with 9 times 2. And 9 times 2 gives us 18. So this new triangle that we're going to draw right here, probably pretty sloppily, because I'm a terrible drawer, is our legs are 9 square root of 2, and then our hypotenuse becomes, once we've multiplied that, our hypotenuse is 18. The last example down here is, it gives you this hypotenuse. We talked about this before, 8 square root of 2. And if it wants to know the length of the leg, since we have to multiply to get the hypotenuse, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we would divide 8 square root of 2 by a square root of 2. And those square roots cancel out, and that leaves us with 8. So then our new triangle is going to leave us with a leg of 8 and a leg of 8. Okay, if you need any more help, just respond to this email, and I can do some more example problems.